Hello, everyone. I'm Marty Lumpkin, and welcome to Mind Your Business with SML. Today, we're honored to have Peter Cotton on from Best Sales Talent. Before he speaks, I'd like to do a quick intro so you can learn a bit more about him. Peter Cotton is a true pioneer in sales talent strategy and executive recruitment. As the founder and president of Best Sales Talent, he brings more than 5 decades of experience helping companies unlock growth by finding, developing, and placing the kind of high performing sales professionals who drive results. Over his career, Peter has worn just about every hat in the sales world: sales rep, manager, trainer, leader, and entrepreneur. For nearly 40 years, he built and ran Sales Consultants of Rhode Island, one of the top offices in the MRI Executive Search Network. His impact was so significant that he became only the third franchisee ever inducted into the MRI Ring of Honor, recognizing more than 1 million in placement fees. Peter is also an author, mentor, and community leader. He co-wrote How to Be an Effective Sales Manager for the American Management Association, offering practical strategies that are still relevant to leaders today. And outside of business, he made a lasting mark by founding the Rhode Island chapter of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, leading it to grant more than 1,000 wishes in just a decade, recognition that earned him honors from both Presidents George W. Bush and Bill Clinton. Today, at Best Sales Talent, Peter continues to do what he does best: connect businesses with top-tier sales and marketing talent, and coach leaders on how to get the most from their teams. His philosophy is simple but powerful. Great salespeople aren't just hired, they're discovered and nurtured, and he has built a career proving exactly that. And I would like to pass it on to Peter to start his amazing presentation.
Thanks very much, Marty. I appreciate the introduction. I don't know how amazing it's going to be, but we'll see. Can you see my screen?
Yes, it is loaded. We just need to go into slideshow.
Okay, just a sec. Okay, I'm going to talk about best sales talent today, where we find and place the best sales management, and marketing talent. It is our only business. But before I tell you about that, let me tell you about the genesis of best sales talent. In 1977, my wife and I purchased a franchise to Sales Consultants of Rhode Island, which was a division of Management Recruiters International. We got married, and a month later, we opened our business. And it was a sink or swim operation, and I'm pleased to report that we swam very nicely. So we owned Sales Consultants during the period of 77 to 2014. During that time, MRI decided they wanted to put their brand MRI in front of the name of every office. Thus, we became MRI Sales Consultants of Rhode Island. Also, ConferView Video Conferencing Centers was pre-Skype and pre-Zoom or any other type of desktop video sharing program. This was a room system, and we had thousands of locations around the world, and we helped employers save thousands of dollars on every interview. Instead of flying them in, putting them up in a hotel, feeding them, giving them ground transportation, and other expenses. So in 2014, my wife and I moved from Rhode Island to Massachusetts to be closer to our children and grandchildren. And that's when I really started in earnest with Best Sales Talent. Now, the logo, or the slogan, I should say, has been the same for the last 49, 50 years. Finding and placing the best sales management, and marketing talent is our only business. We build companies, and we change people's lives. Now, why do employers use the services of Best Sales Talent? Well, it's because employers face these 5 problems. Number 1, they're losing revenue because they have open sales roles that are staying unfilled way too long. That means lost business opportunities, missed deals, competitors are taking over market share, and loss of momentum. All of these things are soft dollars, but they add up to be some very significant dollars. Some employers are hiring average salespeople who can't sell beyond their resume. We've all seen great formatted resumes like the one on the desk here. The candidate is well dressed and he's very poised and he seems to answer the questions correctly. But when it comes to being out in the field and closing the deals, he just doesn't make it. Also, some sales managers are burning out from babysitting underperformers. And when they do that, trying to make an underperformer a better performer, they're turning off their top performers because the top performers aren't getting any attention. And they deserve to be nurtured even as much as an underperformer. Some competitors are finding that their best sales rep is being poached, recruited away, while they're stuck replacing that person. And then wasting time on resumes instead of interviewing the true closers. It's incredible how many resumes an employer gets these days, and it's not all in paper, it's electronic, and their inbox is filling up very, very fast, and it becomes almost unbearable to go through that. Now, taking a candidate view of our business for a moment, this is how candidates find jobs. 71% of them find a job through proper networking. Only 7% are actually finding jobs through the internet. 12% of them are actually being placed by recruiters, whether they approached a recruiter or the recruiter approached them. That accounts for 12% of all the industry.
I have a quick question, Peter, in regards to that graph.
Yes.
I guess I always knew, I mean, networking is huge. I know personally that's how SML gains most of our referrals and clients. I've met so many amazing people. With the networking, do you think it's all levels of employees, or is it more like management and above that's key? I was just wondering.
I'd say it's a step below management in that sales representatives are not management.
Mhm,
But yeah, it wouldn't apply to a customer service role necessarily
mhm,
or an administrative role inside because that doesn't lend itself well to networking as
mhm.
much as a salesperson would.
That makes sense. Thank you, Peter.
No problem. So there's three classifications of candidates on the marketplace, or I should say, in the candidate pool. There's the unemployed looker. These are people who have no job, who must find a job for economic reasons. Then there's the employed lookers. These are people who are not happy where they are. They're constantly looking online, checking for new jobs, applying via clicking the resume attachment, and they passively wait for a response. So they're working, but not always working, if you know what I mean. But the area that we deal in is the employed non-looker, the 80% of the marketplace. The other two types of candidates only comprise 20% of the market. And the employed non-looker is a passive employee. They're not looking for another job. They're doing a great job where they are right now. And they're well appreciated. They don't have a resume prepared. They're not calling up recruiters or employment agencies. They're just doing their job and doing it well and totally unaware of what could be a better opportunity. I look at it another way. The employed non-looker are passive candidates who are not seeking a job and they swim in the deep end of the pool. The unemployed lookers and the employed lookers are in the shallow end of the pool, and it's very crowded there. That's where all these people are sending their resume, right? Now, the type of client that I'm interested in serving are presidents, owners, CEOs of companies that are doing between $2 and $25 million a year in revenue, but I have placed with many larger companies, including several of the Fortune 500 on a regular basis. I'm industry agnostic. Any company in a B2B business is the kind of customer I work with. And I have a sweet spot for service companies, since I'm a service company and I can relate well to them. Now, who am I? Well, I'm a talent acquisition professional. I'm an expert recruiter. As I said before, I build companies and transform people's lives. And I'm a sales and sales management talent finder. I went to Babson College, and then I moved on to Franklin Pierce University, where I graduated with a bachelor's degree in business administration, concentration in marketing, and a co-major in photography. Right out of college, basically, I got my first job by convincing a sales manager that I would be the best rep he ever hired. And he took my word for it. And I went to work for what was then a Fortune 500 company. And I was the sales rep in the Boston area covering New England states. And I was the top sales rep 4 years in a row. And I did so well that the regional sales manager called me and said, "We're going to promote you to a sales manager's job in Pittsburgh." So I call that punishment reward. They put me in a job I knew nothing about. I was not trained for before they sent me there. And I had to kind of sink or swim again to handle that role. I had a very large territory: Western New York, Western Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Western Maryland, all of Ohio, all of Kentucky, and Tennessee. I supervised 5 sales reps, 4 customer service reps, and 18 drivers. These are the delivery people. My plant was the #1 for profitability out of 19 plants nationally for 3 years running. And as I mentioned, my wife and I got started with sales consultants in 1977. It morphed into MRI Network Sales Consultants of Providence, Warwick. They were constantly changing the name. I was the 3rd franchisee in the company history to be accepted in the Ring of Honor for exceeding $1 million in fees. I was a regional and national billing leader. I recruited, hired, and trained several top billing leaders, and I served as the sales consultant's Eastern regional representative for 4 years. And I was featured above the fold on the front page of the Wall Street Journal for a meeting that I managed. The whole time I was in Rhode Island, my license plate said sales, and everybody knew who I was. And frequently I got stopped by people who were in sales who wanted to know what kind of job I had for. You mentioned I was an author. I co-authored a book with Professor Eugene Johnson from the University of Rhode Island. It was called How to Be an Effective Sales Manager, and it was produced by American Management Association. Unfortunately, it's no longer in print. It was some time ago. When I was in Rhode Island, I became the vice president of the Rhode Island Staffing Association, which is a volunteer job. And I did this while I ran my sales consultant's office. I was able to increase meetings. I ran meetings. I increased memberships. Most importantly, I spoke at the Rhode Island State House Finance Committee and successfully prevented the state from invoking a tax on placement services, which would have literally put us out of business because employers weren't about to pay sales tax on several $1,000s in fees, and they would tell us to eat it, which would have been a problem. And as you also mentioned, I became the founder and the president and executive director of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It was the 75th chapter in the United States, the fastest chapter, just charter, it should be chapter startup in the history of the organization. We granted over 1,000 wishes in 10 years. I ran the chapter volunteering the whole time while I was running sales consultants. I was nominated along with 1,000 other people for the J.C. Penney Golden Rule Award, and I won that award. And I was later recognized by President George Bush and William Clinton for outstanding community service. In 2014, I joined forces with Corval, a consulting firm, and I am the subject matter expert for sales, sales management, recruiting, and building sales teams. Again, this is while I'm running Best Sales Talent. So 2014 to present, I'm finding a place in the best sales, sales management, and marketing talent. What have I got to offer that differentiates me? Well, I got nearly 5 decades of knowledge, wisdom, and refined expertise from doing search, assignment, and filling in many different industries and businesses. If an employer calls me, they're going to get a professional service recruiter who has long tenure in the industry. It won't be a junior person learning how to do his job. And the most important thing I would say is that I'm industry agnostic, which means I'm not working in a silo of one industry as some recruiters do. I have a broad exposure to a lot of industries and businesses, which makes me a much better recruiter. And I also use video and audio to present employers and candidates to one another before they actually interview. So they don't even meet on video, but I have an interesting way of doing it. I'd be happy to discuss with any employer who wants to employ my services to find them a top sales rep.
And Peter, I will say that's one of my favorite things that you do. I love the way you incorporate that. I mean, that is it's so much more efficient. It's just it's amazing, and they get to know each other before an interview even starts, and that's the way to do it. I love it, Peter. So that's
Thank
amazing.
you. What happens is basically the employer sells the opportunity to the incoming candidate. I record it, and he tells me all about his company and its history and what are their goals and ambitions and what's the background of the employer and all the little things that go into selling an opportunity. And he has to sell the sizzle. I don't want to be the one selling it. I want him to sell it. Then I ask him, what are the 10 things that are the most important that you need to see in a candidate? And I'll create questions around that. And I'll interview a candidate and record his answers. So the employer will get to see a recorded presentation of the answers to the most important questions. Therefore, when they do interview, they'll be interviewing on a much higher level plane. There'll be a lot less time wasted on trying to delve into those things, and they can go deeper and deeper in the things that they need to. So it's worked out very, very well. So that's what Best Sales Talent is and who I am, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you and tell you all about Best Sales Talent and its history and myself.
Thank you so much, Peter. I'm so grateful that you were able to join a Mind Your Business with SML. I highly encourage anyone and everyone to reach out to Peter for any of the services he offers. He's amazing. There's no one better. And we are also lucky enough to have him as a client. So that is very exciting for SML on our side. But if Peter, is there the best ways to contact you if anyone wants to?
Yes, my email address is pcotton@bestsalestalent.com, or they could call me at 401-737-3200. I think I still have that on the screen, don't I? Let's see. Should be the last slide. Nope, it's not. My bad.
No worries, Peter. And hey, we all know we can all find each other on LinkedIn, so it should not be a problem.
Sure, I'm on LinkedIn. You can go to my website, which is bestsalestalent.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm on X. I'm on whatever I can be on. That's legal, of course.
That's exactly right. That's right, Peter. Thank you. Thank you again, Peter, for being part of this. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for viewing this video. And again, contact Peter if you need him. Highly recommend.
Thanks, Marnie. I appreciate it.